Chancellor Mekkah, low quality is my speciality.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the big tier lists. I am Mekkah, and as is tradition at this point, because we're doing it for the second episode in a row, I'm going to be going over the biggest tier list that I've ever made, or part of it at least, with a friend to make sure that it's accurate, or to make sure that it's somewhat accurate, and to kind of, have some banter and maybe make sure that the tier list is not absolutely terrible. And as is tradition, because this is the second time in a row, we're doing it with someone who has played the relevant game on 0% growths. Hi Rengor, how's it going?
Excuse me, did you just assume I'm your friend?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, Chief.
I don't know, man. How about that? I mean
trust nobody, not even yourself.
Ouch. That hurts. So, to talk about a slightly less awkward subject, you might have noticed in the top right corner, there is another tier list. That's the tier list Rengor made for 3 houses, as recent as like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I think. So, somewhat recent thoughts. And I thought it'd be fun to go over the differences, the biggest differences between our lists, and tier the units that we haven't tiered yet. That's only Gilbert and Anna. I initially only had Gilbert on here, and then Rengor was like, Anna's a unit, right? And I was like, kind of, I guess. Anna is paid to be bad, I guess. Paid to suck.
It's paid to get a 5k bullion, okay?
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Paid to sell. I don't know. Whatever. Almost everything I say sounds so wrong right now. But yeah, we're.
Can we sell Anna, please?
Okay, that's enough. That's enough politically incorrect jokes for today. I think. I don't know.
Debatable. But yeah, sure.
Okay. So looking at our list, one thing I noticed is like most of the things are actually fairly similar. I mean, I have a plus and a minus in most tiers, but if you like took those out, you'd actually end up fairly similar. But there's some very big differences. The biggest one I noticed is that like Ferdinand von Aegir, you have him at he's like a mid tier for you. Yes. I got him as like an A tier actually somewhere, I think.
Right next to Sylvain.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I thought they were like very similar. But you have Sylvain at like the higher end of high, which I mean the colors are basically the same. Like you have a higher part of orange. I guess for me, A is like high and S is top. So. Do you think the differences between Sylvain and Ferdinand are like a lot bigger than I'm making it look?
Okay, so the thing with Ferdinand versus Sylvain is that it's a massive case of early game versus late game. Ferdinand's personal is overall better late game because it just gives plus 15 accuracy. However, with the difference when tiering comes down to mainly the ease of recruitment, the early game performance, and a more minor factor was their battalion. This
is for your
skill.
list, right? This is just like the kind of ease for yours. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this is how I tiered them. For early game, obviously we can have female Byleth recruiting him in chapter 2, and then if he's recruited like that, then he has 10 strength and 7 defense. Plus his personal, which is plus 2 to both attack and protection when adjacent to female allies. So effectively he has 4 more strength and 3 more defense than Ferdinand. And this is, for example, significant because if you give him an iron shield like that, he actually gets 4-round KO'd by chapter 2 thieves.
4-round KO'd, so like he gets double.
4-round KO'd,
Damn.
Yes. He gets doubled because they have 14 AS, but he only dies after 4 rounds of combat.
Oh damn, that's pretty sick.
So he survives 3, yeah. And then just that, and then if he also joins, then he also has an advantage in the lance and axe rank because of how auto leveling works. So he essentially gets 96 lance weapon experience and 156 axe weapon experience over Ferdinand. Meanwhile, Ferdinand, when he's an out-of-house recruit, requires D+ armor with C+ support, because you can't get the B support otherwise.
Oh yeah, you actually can't get to B. I forgot. I thought it was like you couldn't get to A, but that's like everyone. And then Ferdinand's like, no, I also don't want to give you B. That's like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah. The only 2 other characters like that are Caspar until time skip, and actually Leone until chapter 10.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember Leone's very loyal time support.
Leone has to have the most inappropriately timed support in existence.
Seriously, it's the worst thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah, but And then Ferdinand, even if recruited, he doesn't actually have that great stats. His strength's nice, but his speed lags behind, and his skill ranks specifically lag behind. Like, that ease of recruitment is so vital because you really want to just rush Swift Strikes, right? It's an A rank combat art, so it's gonna take a while, but it's super worth it. But and then recruited Ferdinand just lags behind on that. That's not to say that maybe I overreacted a bit on Ferdinand, but I wanted to mainly I wanted to highlight how he's really overrated and people should tone down on his performance because his strength is as bad as Ingrid's.
Yeah, I was gonna say you really don't like Ferdinand's early game, right? It's worse than Bernie's, who often gets bashed for early game unappropriately.
I mean, Ferdinand has 8 strength, Bernadette has 13.
Yeah, with the thing, right? With the +5 from her personal.
Yeah,
right?
with the +5, of course.
Yeah.
One thing that Ferdinand does have early game is gambit accuracy, because just like with Ignatz, his personal, when it's active, does also affect gambits. However, unlike Ignatz's personal, it's even more conditional because he has to be at full HP. So, if you think about it, Bernadetta getting attacked is death because she's probably at low HP anyway because of personal and whatever. Ferdinand getting attacked screws over his personal, so you don't want it to happen too. So what's the difference here? The difference here is that of course Ferdinand can choose to be attacked, but on the other hand, when he does, he becomes really mediocre. He becomes just as bad as in-house Ingrid, or even worse, because in-house Ingrid has better res.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, Ferdinand doesn't really have that good of an enemy phase, right? Because I haven't really used him on Manning very much. I think I made him Paladin the one time I played it.
He gets barely one-rounded by fighters in Chapter 2.
Oh, that's fun.
It's 13 times 2 versus 28.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And then I remember, I think you mentioned it during your playthrough of 0% Blue Lines. I don't remember if it was Sylvain or Ferdinand. We were okay, once you get Wyvern plus Swift Strikes, he turns into a completely different unit. But I don't remember if that was Sylvain or Ferdinand. It probably was Sylvain.
That's both of them,
yeah.
Really. Seteth too, because once, here's my theory about Three Houses, and this is a lot of it affects a lot of tierings. Once you get to advanced, you're good. That's basically the end of the story, because you can just go into a class that makes your stats basically irrelevant, like Sniper, Grappler. Well, Wyvern Lord Wyvern Rider not to the same degree, but the doubling combat arts in Swift Strikes, Hunter's Volley, Fierce Iron Fist, just make you good no matter what.
I was about to say, it's more you have to get the art as well before you can be really irrelevant with your stats, or before your stats become really irrelevant. Because
obviously, but assuming you get that, you get to advanced and then get the art, and then you're set for life pretty much.
That's fair. Okay, I think I like the idea of moving Ferdinand down a little bit. At least to I don't know, B+, B-.
It depends. You can move him I'm not totally even opposed to him staying near Sylvain if you want, but it's not a point I will fight anyone on. It's just my personal opinion. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is that one more thing is that Sylvain has Battalion Vantage, while Ferdinand also has Battalion Desperation, which is the most useless thing ever on him.
Yeah.
It's when is he doubling?
Yeah, but I mean, do you think Battalion Vantage is worth anything? I feel it's only good if you combo it with some kind of wrath.
You can use it with Lance of Ruin, for example.
Oh, then you Oko assassins and stuff. Oh, that's interesting.
Mages, for example. It's obviously Battalion Wrath is the best one, but Battalion Vantage still has its uses. But Battalion Desperation is just useless.
Yeah.
He does have Rally Dex. Ferdinand does have Rally Dex at least, but.
Yeah, Rally Dex is fun, but I mean, I feel there's a bunch of things you can come up with Sylvain that would just make him more useful anyway. There's plenty of things to compensate for that, all the things we've mentioned before about his durability advantages and everything.
Yep.
So that's fair. Okay, I like that perspective a lot. Because a lot of people feel I remember when I first played Three Houses, I actually had trouble telling Sylvain and Ferdinand apart because they had the same face, but they're just kind of mirrored like that.
They're the same face, same unit kit.
Basically, Swift Strikes guys based on mounts and everything. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I played with them.
I'm still salty over the Reddit tier list, putting him at A, and then out of house Bernadette at D.
That was funny. Yeah. One more thing that we should probably mention for Ferdinand is a lot of people like the dodge tank build, where they make him like super focused on avoiding things. They even make him a dancer and get sword avoid +20, and then use his personal, and they use like just prowess, I guess, and probably something I'm forgetting. Do you think that's good or not?
To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand dodge tanking. The builds are extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical Fire Emblem, most of the setup will go over a theoretical player's head. There is also Ferdinand's noble outlook, which is deftly woven into his characterization. His personal philosophy draws heavily from Adrestian literature, for instance. The fans understand this stuff. They have the intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these builds, to realize that they are not just funny, they say something deep about life. As a consequence, people who dislike dodge tanking truly are idiots. Of course, they wouldn't appreciate, for instance, the humor in Ferdinand's existential catchphrase, "I am Ferdinand von Aegir," which itself is a cryptic reference to Kaga's epic tearing saga, Berwick Saga, Lesbira Chronicle, chapter 174. I'm smirking right now just imagining one of those adult-padded simpletons scratching their heads in confusion as Koei Tecmo's genius wit unfolds itself on their Switch screens. What fools. How I pity them. And yes, I do have an Alert Stance Plus tattoo. No, you can't see it. It is for ladies' eyes only. And even then, they have to demonstrate that they are within 5% hit rate of my own, preferably lower beforehand. Nothing personal, kid. Do I need to go into more detail?
I mean, I personally always feel like that build is like, it can work, but only with like Battalion Wrath or something to like increase your offense, because otherwise you're just kind of tanking enemies and eventually getting hit.
Basically, how I see really dodge tanking is like, it's the highest effort build to break the game. Because yes, it will work eventually after a lot of investment, but how much are you really getting out of it?
I mean, there's a lot of characters that can like player phase
good,
offense things, but like there's not that many that can enemy phase things, right?
Yeah. Well, you can just vantage Wrath.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Well, if you get hit even with a dodge tank build, you're pretty dead. And like the only thing that's gonna hit you is like gambits, which dodge tanks also have to worry about anyway.
You think it would be better or like less effort but still somewhat replicable to say either you master mercenary or go hero and you master warrior to get wrath on a melee unit like Ferdinand and just do that instead?
I'm not a fan of mastering wrath itself because it's an advanced class that requires A access. Advanced classes take 150 weapon experience, class experience, while the mercenary takes 100. I guess he does have a boon in swords, but he doesn't have the Wrath setup, so he would need to master both. But he could, it's just higher effort.
Well, you don't have to master them, right? Because you can just make him go hero to have advantage. Or you have battalion advantage, whatever you want. But you need to go to low HP anyway for Wrath.
You still need to master Wrath, yeah. In that
yeah,
case.
that's the biggest.
So you might as well.
Because there's no other way for him to like reliably Oko things on enemy phase other than Wrath from Warrior, I think. At least not.
Not really, unless you're like, I don't know. Well, no, not even War Master, because War Master would also require that. Quick riposte, but that's gonna be like super late game. Oh god,
yeah, that's kind of gross. Yeah, I just feel like the best way to use them is just to Swift Strikes with Paladin or Wyvern, whatever is best for the situation. Usually it should be Wyvern, but maybe sometimes Paladin for more attack, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Same with Sylvain. It's just a difference in the early game, and just mainly the early game.
Yeah, and like you said, the early game is when the stat differences between them are the biggest and the most important, because once they get to advanced, they're good anyway. So
yes,
that stands out a lot more. I agree with that. That's fair. Okay, so from here, like Ferdinand was like the biggest difference between our list, besides maybe Hapi. So I was thinking we could like go with her for now, and then we could just work from the top, see like minor differences, see if that anything is that interesting. Maybe after that we've done like an hour of talking, because that was my experience with Donna. It's like we just talked and talked, and so I was like, oh shit, 1 hour in, and I have like 5,000 grievances left.
You guys need to do like part 7 of that.
Yeah, we absolutely have to do that actually. Okay, so one thing I listened to your videos of your tier list, because I don't know if I mentioned like the videos yet, but you made 2 videos talking about like every unit on the whole tier list. And one part that I thought was very interesting was the perspective on Dimitri versus Edelgard, because we both agree that they are the best. I have them like a tier and a half tier above the rest, above like Balthus and Claude. So I think we're kind of agreeing that like there's probably a gap between them. It's just I don't have this gap right here, or you don't have this gap right here. I can't put my cursor on your list because that's obvious for you. But I have Dimitri higher, and I don't remember exactly what the reasoning was. I think Dimitri and Edelgard were both tiered at the same episode. I'm not entirely sure, but I definitely discussed them like that. And I felt like Dimitri was the better one because, like I kind of said before, I think enemy phase units in this game that work are so rare that it values Dimitri's utility over Edelgard's Raging Storm, because Edelgard is like the ultimate player phase unit, whereas Dimitri is like the ultimate enemy phase unit, and I think enemy phase units are more rare and therefore more valuable. However, I also think that's like a kind of a matter of how you play the game almost, because if you think about it, almost every post time skip map is kill boss, so Edelgard just lets you like not play the game, and if you're just playing casually, I feel like Raging Storm is less powerful of a tool because it doesn't. Yeah, it's really, really good to give yourself Guild Force, but it's not as broken as when you're trying to kill every boss in one turn, kind of like that.
I mean, if you're playing casually, then you can have a higher supply of Agarthium, and then you can just abuse that to no end.
Oh yeah, you can have 5 Guild Forces per map, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that's I think underappreciated is just how much better Edelgard's early game is besides Prologue.
Oh yeah.
Like, Prologue is the one chapter where Dimitri is genuinely better because Tempest Lance one-shots thieves. It's always nice when he procs his crest there, by the way. Thanks.
Rip your weapon uses, yeah.
Yeah. And Edelgard doesn't have the greatest hit rates with Iron Axe, even after Smash. And she can't one-shot, she's one-off. However, after that chapter, she's basically just strictly better. Because she has one more strength and speed, which means that that speed, for example, if she gets 2 points of strength for 1 point of speed, she can actually avoid being doubled by Chapter 1 Dimitri in the mock battle with a training sword, because she just has exactly enough AS to not get doubled. Same with Byleth, by the way. She's female, so she can go Pegasus Knight, which means both Darting Blow and the class utility. She starts with D armor, which means that by Chapter 3 she can easily hit C armor, which normally I don't go for, but in her case it's so easy to get, and it gets her weight -3, which is essentially speed +3 in the early game.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, and that also allows her to equip, for example, an iron sword and a shield, and both have high AS and high defense. And then Dimitri's one base stat advantage is his defense, 7 versus 6. However, because Edelgard has that D armor,
yeah,
and then Axe Boon, which you're gonna be training her in, she can just go Armor Knight at level 10 and get the 12 defense, so it gets mitigated completely by that point. And then late game, she can actually stack protection very well with, for example, the Aegis Shield, because she won't take recoil, Crest of Flames for self-healing, which is 20% admittedly, but it is still 20% soul pretty much.
Yeah, you mean like 20% activation rate, right?
Yeah, 20% activation rate for the crest per attack, or combat art.
Which is basically all the time, unless you're doubling.
Yeah, pretty much. And then her skill lengths are also better overall, because you have Lance Neutrality, Axe Boon, Armor Boon, well, Authority Boon is shared. Well, Dimitri has Axe Bane, and Bow Neutrality, while Edelgard has Bow Bane, but with the bow, you only need D+, for Archer.
Yeah, because you're not going sniper with either of them. Like, otherwise it would be a bigger deal. I think like bows are like really good for casual play sometimes, for like lower difficulties, because they're like so good for.
I always like chip with them.
Oh yeah, but I mean like when I played hard mode, for example, my favorite build for most units was just like go Wyvern Lord and then use bows, because they have 1-2 range with that, so I don't need retribution or anything.
True. I actually do that with Petra, but
yeah, well, she has a bow boon, so she's kind of different.
Bow boon, and she's fitted for that, so she just goes like Brave Axe, Brave Bow, for example.
Yeah, she's also fast.
Going back to maddening, and also with weight -3 and then Darting Blow, she gets pretty fast still. But again, like, she can also stack protection for enemy phase, which is not to be underestimated. She can stack some impressive protection.
Are you talking about like part 1 or part 2 for protection stacking?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Do you think it's useful in part 2?
Yes, it can be useful. It just depends on what enemy you're specifically targeting. Because enemies in Part 2 follow the Shadows of Valentia formula really precisely, which is the stat tiering. And for example, enemy warriors and war masters will have high attack, but then Pegasus Knights / Falcon Knights and assassins, for example, will have relatively low attack, so you can actually stack enough protection to guard against them.
So, are you saying that enemies are either like very fast or very strong, but rarely both? So the enemies that are like the biggest threat are
Well,
just
no. For example, War Masters have 50 strength, 48 speed, and Azure Moon endgame. So they are both strong and fast. But like, you have to like look at what class they are and determine whether or not you can tank that. And I find that there are enough cases where you can actually stack protection and come out on top. Just because of that, especially from like the perspective of 0% even.
Okay, I'm asking this because I think it'll be relevant for Gilbert later. So I was curious about your thoughts on like protection stacking. So
yes,
all right, I'm pretty convinced. I mean, just put Edelgard back on top. I'm sure there will be no controversy about this at all whatsoever anywhere.
Also, one minor grievance about Dimitri I haven't mentioned: his luck growth of 25%.
Oh yeah.
Why am I mentioning luck?
I don't know.
Dex plus Dex plus luck, but all divided by 2 is the crit rate. So it actually screws with his crit rate, and he can't really access War Master without severe pain.
Oh yeah.
So him like stacking 100 crit isn't as reliable as you might have experienced in that one video. Like where he missed like a 94%. Yeah.
That's actually not the only time I ever run into issues with Dimitri. I actually, like when I was doing that draft rate practice that you might be seeing in lower right, I was actually trying to do stuff like that with Dimitri. And it's actually like when you show it off in like a video where you've planned everything beforehand, like in the LTC that I commentated and your 0% growth run, you just kind of think, oh, but Dimitri has Battalion Vantage and Wrath, so he kills everything going first, no problem. But you actually like somewhat specific setups for him to reach 100 crit, because if you have like, even if you have like 95 or 90, if he's fighting like 20 enemies over an enemy phase, it's kind of like not activate once and get him fucked over. If his battalion breaks, that's so bad.
Yeah, I actually have a minor confession to make. I do believe that the Dex and Luck stacking unironically made a difference in endgame of Azure Moon 0%. To my defense, it was the first one, but if I were to redo that, I would just send Alois in there. Because he had just reliable 100% crit.
Is it because his bases are higher, or just has more luck?
No, he can have Wrath and Battalion Wrath.
Oh, right, so he stacks those. That's genius. Oh, that's right. Oh, we need to talk about that when we get to Alois. That's actually super good. Because I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot to mention it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can't change anything about S+. I think, let's see, I have Byleth. You have Mil Byleth as well. You have Cloud between them. So this is basically the same. You just have like a couple of other units between them.
Yeah.
I think these nuances are interesting, but I think it's more important to knock out the bigger things first.
Yeah, no. Claude is also a pretty good father to Lester. Passing the Valkyrie staff is very crucial for Generation 2. Oh wait, wrong Claude.
Oh, you're right. Let me just add the 4 units to this list. It is a big tier list after all. It is the big tier list. Yeah, I like his Lester Holy Blood personally. Where anyway, I actually promised to talk about.
I mean, why else do you think he leads the why else do you think one of his classmates has a battalion called the Lester Mercenaries?
Okay, we need to talk about Hapi, because actually, like, I think we were supposed to, but I didn't manage to do it somehow. I have her in B-, so that's like mid-ish, I guess. The color coding on our things is kind of different, which is kind of throwing me off. But I have like B-, like kind of average. You have her in like high, so like right next to Hilda, for example.
Right above Linhard.
Yeah.
That's where I would put her, just right above Linhard. Because how I see it, they fulfill a similar niche in that it's a
late warp,
basically, like late warp and healer. But Hapi also has additional offense utility. Swarm, the speed lowering, useful for stealing or monsters. Banshee, really useful early game, basically stun locks an enemy.
It makes them it reduces their move to like half, right?
It lowers a movement by 5, so an enemy needs to have 6 or more movement to be able to move. And early game, that's like no one.
Yeah, because all the fucking classes have 4 or 5 move in this game. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like Encloser, I guess, in that way.
Yeah, and then her personal skill, which attracts monster attention. Like the only way to divert them from Hapi is to Gambit. Where then they will prioritize her. And this can be abused, for example, with Impregnable Wall. because they will still target Hapi, but they do 1 damage, and Hapi breaks their barriers in 1 hit.
Oh, because she's got monster effective usually.
Yeah, she has.
Oh yeah, because his skill. Yeah. Oh wow,
yeah.
that's genius.
Yeah, she has 2 times monster effective.
I was gonna say, like, why would you want monsters to attack Happy? Because he's really fragile and they just hit on their defense most of the time. But
you can on non-Crimson Flower routes, you can also give her the Seros Shield, which halves monster damage.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool too.
It's actually really useful in Silver Snow endgame, because you know how Hoarfrost negates defense? Well, that's not defense. So, for example, just putting Happy in her range means that she will blast her repeatedly and repeatedly for 23 damage. So, like, and the passive recovery plus a concoction, and you basically have an infinite, way of just surviving forever. And she can't do nothing on enemy phase because she just keeps targeting Happy, and then as long as you don't put units around Happy, she can never die.
That's so degenerate, I love it. It's so dumb.
3 houses opens the pathway to many abilities, some consider to be cursed.
Cursed. That sounds like a YouTube poop edit. Okay, I like her. Like, I'll just put it Linard art because I agree.
Yes, yes, that's.
Because it's like Linard with more utility. Because Linard is basically just warp and physics utility for most of the game.
Yes. I mean, that's still good. And with Linhardt, admittedly, his offensive spell list is not to be underestimated because it's extremely accurate. Between Wind, Cutting Gale, and Excalibur.
Yeah, all the wind tomes basically, except they're put them all in one category.
It should bear to mention that Happy has an Authority Bane, but you can counteract that by just using a lower Authority Battalion, which does cut into her damage, but you can use it for more utility, for example. So, for example, you can put the E-Rank Stride Battalion on her even, if you want, and then, well, she doesn't need Authority for that.
Yeah, and like you probably turn her into some kind of mounted unit, right? Because you have the DLC anyway, so you probably go like whatever Valkyrie or something.
Admission, I have never used Happy, but
in the main game,
because
right?
I don't play. Yeah, in the main game, I actually DLC, but I don't use the DLC in the main game. But I would go like Valkyrie Gremory personally. And you can, if you need the mount, you can just swap back to Valkyrie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because Stride on a unit with like a mount is pretty cool, because that way they can kind of keep up and do stuff.
that is nice. But I usually actually put Stride on like Linhardt in Crimson Flower, and it's fine because with Physic and Warp he just covers a lot anyway.
Yeah, he still keeps up.
Even if he gets left behind, so even if he gets left behind, he's still contributing.
Yeah, as long as he's not too far behind. Because if you're like moving full move every turn, full steam ahead, he's probably not keeping up. But that's pretty hard in manning unless you're like, I don't know, Dimitri or something.
Yeah,
and
even then you always have like positional combat arts with Kanto if you can't reach anyone. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, everyone else is like in the same thing. You have Coco in high. I have her in like B plus.
Yeah, but it's a matter of how highly you value magical offense. I am not gonna fight this positioning if you don't feel like changing.
Well, the thing is, I was gonna ask like, what do you think of her in the main game? Because like I have no experience with her, but you have no experience with her either, so it might not be a very
much. Like it's just a question. Like the main thing is that
she just has like really good magic, right? And then bolting.
She has bolting and then B-rank rescue on a unit with actual offense.
Yeah, Flame.
Well, hey, I did mention that Flame, if she has the DLC, goes into mid tier on my tier list. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like. I'm not gonna be too upset about that one if it even stays. What I am gonna challenge you on though is Cyril and Dedue.
Okay, I actually was really curious about those for me, because the reason I ranked Dedue lower than most units is because I felt like most units in 3 houses are very samey, and then Dedue was kind of like that, but he also misses out on a couple chapters. But think about it more, the chapters are like, the more I think about it, less of a big of a deal those chapters feel like to me. Especially hunting by daybreak. And then his
early game is really good because of that defense tanking, and then vengeance, which he has and he can use to as much of an effect as Bernadetta.
He basically gets it at the same time as Bernadetta, right? Like chapter 4, 5-ish.
Yes, they learn. Yes, they learn it at the same time. Chapter 4, pre-chapter 4. Well, in-house, but that's the Dedue, so...
Yeah, the Dedue is only in-house. He's an indoor man. He's 2020 impersonated.
And one more thing for Dedue is that I mentioned that in my videos when I overanalyzed Vengeance for like 8 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely a recommended watch. Is the Vengeance timestamp for 8 minutes with an Excel spreadsheet and everything.
Yes, but basically Dedue can, for example, pull a War Master build with Vantage, Wrath, the regular versions, although he does have Battalion Wrath if you want, and Vengeance, and then like Cure Lens Plus, for example. And then you just get a unit who both wrecks player phase and enemy phase.
That's really cool. I saw that. You like get him to low health and then have him Vengeance to people and then maybe heal him up and then have him do more shit.
Yeah, and then like early,
Tank.
you can also like protection tank, and then once you get lower, you can use Vengeance. And if you're higher on HP, you can use 1-2 punch.
1-2 punch. That's the grappler art, right? Because I always
No.
forget the name.
1-2 punch is a learned combat art.
Oh, okay.
It's +8 might, +20 hit, doubles, as in not brave, but like it doubles. It's like that weird. It's like that weird interaction where he attacks, the enemy attacks, and then he attacks.
Okay.
But it's 8 might and 20 hits, so that's a lot. And the enemy doesn't need to counter, so if you use it on, say, an archer, he goes splat.
That's funny. What's the grappler art called again?
Fierce Iron Fist.
Okay, that's the one I was confused with. All right, that's fair. I mean, another reason I put Dedue kind of low is because the first time I played Blue Lions Maddening, I actually found the whole team so good that I barely used to do it all, and I felt like his base defense is pretty good, but I felt like most people were using his tanking with his personal skill, his Staunch Shield or whatever it is, for like +4 defense whenever he waits.
Yes.
And I felt like in the early game, the action economy was so tight that I never wanted to wait with Dedue. I just wanted to kill enemies, so it was like always spamming Tempest Lance and everything, so I never got to use his personal skill.
For example, in Chapter 2, like if you're not going LTC pace, which is unreliable, like really unreliable, but like if you're just waiting for the enemy to come to you, then you can use that protection to get the enemy in, potentially damage them, and then just nuke them on your player phase, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean a lot of Maddening is like that bait and switch kind of thing, and I guess Dedue was the best one to bait with, so probably just didn't use it to like its full extent that way. I'll just put him at least an A tier. I don't know where you should be exactly. You have him like really high. You have him, like,
yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'll just put him like right here for now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care about the exact order of these units. We just have like the same units in here now. I think there might be like 1 unit difference now. I'm not sure who it is.
Well, Cyril, the other Vengeance user, and then he's more point-blank volley in Chapter 5 with Steel Bow Plus, and then like a battalion with high attack, and he just can ORKO a lot.
Yeah, and that's like at that point, Chapter 5 is like when the units like start getting kind of good, and you get like Catherine, but it's still like really good comparatively. Like I don't remember anyone else one-rounding in Chapter 5. Chapter 6 is like, sure,
Chapter
maybe.
6 is easy, and then he can't take part in Chapter 7, sadly. But his boons are pretty insane. Like,
yeah, it's like Petra but better. It's like holy shit.
Yeah, lance, axe, bow, flight.
Yes.
Like, bruh.
Cyril looked at what was good in 3 houses, like, okay, I want boons in those stats. That seems pretty good
much.
To me. Yeah. Do you think his a lot of people like rip on his like personal skill for not working, but I always feel like people who say that just don't look at the whole picture too much, and they just say Cyril's held back by his personal skill being ass. I'm like, okay, but everything else about him is so good.
It is the worst personal skill in the game, but does that matter to his unit performance?
No, I don't think so. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, does Raphael's personal skill factor into his unit performance?
Raphael's a personal skill?
Good question. Yeah, he has that personal skill that ruins Vantage ref setups.
Oh yeah, like Edelgard's crest. Yeah, that's terrible. Let's put Edelgard down a bit. Yeah, I think like.
Oh god, please no.
I think personal skills are important to take into account, but I feel like people who over-focus on them too much are just like just not looking at the right things. What matters is that Cyril's killing enemies, not that his personal skill isn't doing anything for him right now. Like, there's points in the game where Sylvain's personal skill isn't doing anything, because putting units adjacents in part 2 is kind of cringe. It's don't do it anymore. But we're not gonna like put him down for that. We'll take it into account when tiering him, but we're not gonna like put him lower for like a part 2 performance or anything just because his personal skill isn't doing anything or something. I'm explaining this poorly, but just because it doesn't do anything
it can do stuff. Still.
Yeah.
+2 damage and +2 damage.
I mean, yeah, it works for like when you're like breaking monsters and cantering around and stuff. I saw it being used on the turtle. Yeah, it can be pretty cool situationally still.
Yeah.
I saw like remember Felix his personal being useful against the turtle when he's being bring a battalion.
Triangle attack.
Yeah, triangle attack. Big needs.
Speaking of which, I would put Cyril below Felix for the simple reason that doesn't contribute in the super early game.
Oh, that's fair. Felix is like the other reason I thought Blue Lions.
And then Grounder 1 also. Grounder 1 is also a factor because the reason why I factor Grounder 1 is because the enemies there are actually really highly statted. Not the generic ones specifically, but like the actual students or their replacements.
Yeah, I agree. It's like one of the chapters where like you can really make a big difference in that chapter. It's so hard to perform well in that one because like no one really has a good enemy phase. You can get gambited all the time. It's like it's a really cool chapter too. Probably one of my favorite chapters in the LTC too because of all like the shit that goes down in it. I like the ballista use personally. Shooting someone to make a move.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. This chapter is so insanely hard. Also one of the best chapters for Vengeance to really make a difference.
Yes, like I remember in the German 0%, which was before we really discovered how good Vengeance was, or at least I didn't. It was pain. Like the chapter was so bad, I had to like sacrifice Lysithia to Edelgard just to beat it. It has forced casual mode, but still. And then like in the Black Eagle 0%, it's like, haha, Bernadetta one-shotting Claude with a training lance go burr.
Yeah, that's so funny how good Bernadetta is with training lance of all things. Like it's like half HP training lance. That's all she needs. A lot of people talk about Bernadetta as if she needs to be like at 1 HP with an inaccurate with a lance of ruin to kill things, but no, it's just training lance. I remember I would put like a steel lance on her at the start of chapter 6, and around like chapter 14 or 15, that thing is still at like over half uses because I just never use it. And Vengeance costs like 4 uses to use. It's
and then like training lance plus has 65 uses.
It's like it never breaks, and when it almost does, it's like okay, repair for like 3 forging stones or something.
Like no gold.
So your house has a gold system?
Hey, I mean, actually about that, I'm like convinced that while you never should run into like money issues, you can spend a lot of money on stuff that will benefit you.
Oh yeah, I just don't forge enough for sure. There's a part where like buy all the stat boosters or like just
like
go on arena all day.
Fishing for 3 hours.
3 hours, 3 houses.
3 hours.
Can't spell 3 houses without 3 hours.
Yes. I still remember I made you like miss a perfect by pinging you.
Oh, Rengor always fucking pings me on Discord. Always. It's like meme, ping Mekkah. Response to anything, ping Mekkah. Random video about 3 houses that just got uploaded on YouTube, but it's a channel with less than 2 subscribers, ping Mekkah. Always just ping Mekkah. When in doubt, ping Mekkah. Yeah. On my Discord, there's like a rule where you can't ping me because it's super fucking annoying. But I can't turn pings off for my own server because it might be important. So whenever people do it, I would post like the Cave of Wonders. It's like, who disturbs my slumber? Anyhow, that orange tier looking pretty good overall. I will say one thing about Catherine, because I wrote the waifu Catherine script with a lot of your help, and I remember being like, I was really amazed with Catherine's part 1 performance when I first like saw how good she was in your run, and I was like really underwhelmed by how good she was, by how bad she was for me in part 2, no matter what I made. And I remember talking about it to you, and like the main thing with Catherine, she just doesn't have a good combat art for part 2. She just doesn't kill anything, so her high-ish stats don't really matter. But then you said she might perform better as a Wyvern Lord as opposed to what I did was like Falcon Knight with Death Blow, Darting Blow, and Hit +20. Is that still like roughly your thoughts on Catherine?
I mean Falcon Knight with that build is basically just inferior Wyvern Lord with that build.
Yeah.
Like the issue with her is just skill ranks. She doesn't have good skill ranks in areas that are relevant for maddening. Like Sword A, I guess it allows her to use all swords in the game, which is on Blue Lions she has the PRF Sword of Zoltan.
Yeah, that was super funny. I noticed that too. It's like you just support Felix and Dimitri randomly, you get the sword, you just kill everything with it in chapter 6 if you want to, or like chapter 5.
Yeah,
whatever.
or chapter 5, yeah. But like, she has a lot of stats, but you need to build her skill ranks basically from the ground up. That's her main issue, really. And then she becomes a generic female flyer offense, pretty much.
Yeah, which isn't really very useful in part 2 unless you have like really good stats, like I don't know, just
but that said she can just steamroll from part 1 to part 2, or rather snowball, because of how juggernauting works in principle. So she's not to be counted out, but it's just something you need to consider about her.
Yeah, she needs like help from like effective weapons or something to really do something, I feel like, in part 2.
Or Braves. Just Brave Axe.
Yeah, that's true. If you can double with you can just quadruple with a Brave Axe, that's probably fine too, which is stat-wise. I can see that working.
War Cleric Catherine with a Death Darting Blow.
Easy.
I want someone to try that.
I mean, it's pretty funny that she's like a female unit with a Fist Boom, but you can go War Master or Grappler, so you kind of have to do something.
Dude, Grappler will be so good. 70% chance to boost Fierce Iron Fist damage by +5 per hit.
Oh god, with her crest, yeah, that'd be fucking funny. Oh god, I want that now. I usually don't bitch about the
unit. The one.
I usually don't bitch about the class.
Or you want her to be male and she isn't. No, like just Catherine herself, yeah.
I usually don't bitch about the gender split in 3 houses because it's like one of the few things that actually distinguishes units significantly. But in this case, I will say I actually want Catherine to have nil classes.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. Let's see, I've got big nuts here. I got Hubert a bit lower, but like the same tier, so not really worth bitching about. Initially I had Yuri and D tier. I put him up to C after some people were like, hey dude, he actually has an authority boon and some other stuff, cool stuff. Do you think I still underrated him?
Yes, I think he's still underrated. He should probably be like, well actually I would put him below Ferdinand really, because his stats are admittedly nice, authority boon, and then he can still go sniper, because he does get a hidden talent in bows. And his early game performance is really good because of stats, early wind sweep, which is nice, especially
early C?
Sorry? Repeat?
Do you remember when he gets it? Like C?
C+.
Okay.
C+ swords, but he also auto levels that, so he's closer. He starts with like D+ swords.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
When you get him in chapter 2 or chapter 3. And then he has heal for chapter 2, for example, so that's more uses of it.
That's pretty cool. Wait, what are you even making?
Monk for like early game, and then like thief, brigand. Like his thing is that he's not as great just because of his ranks, but then he can go like archer and then sniper, for example, to get fixed, or brawler or grappler. His personal skill is also +3 damage when no allies are adjacent, so.
Ooh.
Not great if you're tanking with the entire team, but if you can split up, then it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they can be like diagonally adjacent, right? Still, so you can still make like your big ball death while involving Yuri. You just move them afterwards, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then and I'm assuming we're not really counting something like the Feathers of Dromiel in his favor because anyone can use it.
Feathers of Dromiel can be used by anyone, and the only effect Yuri gets is an additional Pavice Aegis proc from it.
Which is kind of bad. Like I know that. I just bring it up just because that's like one of the biggest pet peeves with Let's City, people getting the Thyrsus to her pretending it's hers. So I just wanted to bring it up for Yuri. I don't think it really counts. For me, it's really the authority boon that I overlooked. And the early wind sweep seems interesting for early game, especially. I don't find wind sweep super useful late game.
Late game it's not good, but early game it's good because you're not one-shotting usually. Bernadette and Dedue say hi.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, it's nice.
I think I remember him not being very good at like going mounted, so sniper is probably.
He has lance, axe, riding, and flying banes.
I noticed this before, but the Ashen Wolves are also like ridiculously min-maxed with their boons and banes. They have like either they have a bane or a boon in something. There's no in between almost with them.
Yeah, like Balthus and Yuri only have 2 neutrals. The rest is either a boon or a bane after hidden talent is unlocked.
Very cool, Koi Techno, very cool.
Thank you, Koi Techno, very epic.
Okay, do you think Alois should move up? Because stack thing?
He's fine if you consider availability. I would be fine here, but this is a nice chance to talk about Gilbert, I suppose, because I would just put him below Alois.
Oh, okay, I'll put him there.
Like adjacent to Alois, and then yeah, because they fulfill similar roles overall. Alois is better because he can go War Master more easily, which is a more effective build.
Because of ranks?
Because of ranks, yes. He has A axes and B brawling, C armor, C authority.
Yeah, that's insane. Isn't like Gilbert's one of the biggest pros? I always think of the Gilbert as like the guy with more armor, but C rank armor is still really good as a base.
Yeah, C armor is enough to pass Fortress Knight.
Yeah.
With like rigging the exam. But about Gilbert, he's level 26 at base, which is only 4 levels away from master, aka like Wyvern Lord or Great Knight actually. The one unit who can go Great Knight because of his base ranks.
Oh, damn.
And then he admittedly has a bad performance in Hunting by Daybreak, mostly because of his inventory. Like, who thought having a steel axe and an intermediate seal in Join Chapter that ridiculous would be a good idea?
I love the intermediate seal. It's like, you wish you could reclass, but you can't you?
Speaking of reclassing, he can go Paladin at base or Wyvern with D flying, and that bumps him to 14 speed.
Yeah, it's like, alright,
which-
you reclass plus 12 speed, here you go. I think it even shows at like plus 14 speed or something, because like his base class also like a negative speed base or something. It really wants to nerf him.
Yes, at -6, but the reclassing only shows personal base, so Gilbert's personal is 8, so it's +6. But then once he goes back to Fortress Knight with that, he's also not doubled by Armor Knights in Chapter 14, for example.
Oh, imagine not getting doubled by Armor Knights.
Yeah.
Well done, dude.
I know, right?
Nah,
like,
Chapter
for
14 that's
example-
pretty cool, because Chapter 14 is actually like pretty defensively tanky.
Yeah, he's actually nice as a Fortress Knight. They both are. Gilbert starts in it though. And for example, he can take the Kingdom Armored Corps, which is the Impregnable Wall Battalion, and then stack a Silver Shield on top. And with like cooking, potentially, not necessary, he can tank the Falcon Knights and Pegasus Knights.
Does he actually
And,
ting
like-
them? Like take
Yeah,
0?
he can. No, not like Tink, but he takes like 1 to 2 damage.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I was gonna bring up tanking because usually for like defense tanking, you want to stack it.
To his like 55 HP or something. So
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I was thinking like that defense stacking. I was curious about it because Gilbert and also Aloysius don't have crests, so you can't put the Aegis shield on them without them taking like 10 damage every
but
time.
in Chapter 9, there's a Black Magic tournament, which if you win, you get a Silver Shield, which is +4 protection.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I'm glad.
Which is it's only 2 less.
Wow, it's no wonder you have your own website, lucky3houses.com.
Okay, Mekkah, very cool. Hey, excuse me, it's a triangle attack now.
Oh, it is triangle attack now. Yeah, very good idea by Rengor to rename it to something else. People don't think it's his. It's actually Keb's. It's a meme, guys. Don't think it's his.
Yes, please. Save me.
Yeah, I noticed when I was gonna try to make some Gilbert footage or just kind of try him out in playthroughs, I was trying to get into Wyvern. I was like, I think within 1 chapter he can get there for like qualification.
Because you only need D rank, which is 100 weapon experience.
Yeah.
So it's like really easy.
Yeah, like who else are you gonna tutor post time skip, right?
Yeah. Same with Aloy, by the way, because he has a flying bane, but you only need D flying, and he's not going Wyvern Lord, so who cares?
Yeah, Wyvern Rider is like a lot easier to like qualify as than like Wyvern
Wyvern
Lord.
Rider is ridiculously easy to certify.
It's like D plus axes. Hello.
No, not D plus axis. It's B axis, C flight.
Oh yeah.
And like then you consider that like Paladin is B lances, B riding, and Fortress Knight is B axis, B armor. Like, why does it have a C? Why can you pass it with like 2 less? And it's like B axis D flight, C plus axis D plus flight. Like, what are these requirements?
Yeah, and if you have like C plus axis, D plus flight, they have like 33 or 66. Or roughly that.
The penalty is 64, so it's 36 plus luck divided by 2.
Okay, math. No.
So it's like 40%, roughly 40 to 45%.
Yeah, that's like teasable. Even if you don't want to reset over it, if you like try it 4 times in a month, you'll probably get it by the end of it. Like, it's not like you don't have enough money to buy the seals or whatever you want.
Yeah, especially since you or just reset.
Yeah, or just reset when the seal goes. That's not like the kind of saves coming I think everyone does. Is like, okay, I didn't qualify, reset, save the seal.
Pretty much.
Like, even if you don't want to rig it.
They really shouldn't have costed like the seals for exams because people are just gonna reset anyway.
Yeah, especially because you can reset every single week if you want to. Like, don't even have to do a new chapter trick. Okay, let's see. I don't think there's anyone really worth talking about here. I guess we should just tier Anna before we get into anything more meticulous or more detailed.
So 5,000 gold is a pretty good character.
Spendthrift, boys.
Yeah, someone joked once that at least Anna has a higher chance to pass exams because of her +5 luck personal, but then I reminded them that
it doesn't count.
Since it's an ability, it doesn't count. So.
That's so dumb.
Basically, someone at IS thought that giving her 5 7s as bases would be a funny meme, but then they forgot to give her anything else, so like, well...
Is Anna auto level?
Yes, she does auto level, and she can actually be recruited post time skip, so you could like recruit a level 37 Ana or something. And like
Get Red Gilbert. This is the highest base level in the game now.
she's still bad. But
I remember when Jeritza came out. If you loaded the save file from before he came out,
yeah.
he on the level to like level 37 or something too. If you loaded the final chapter.
Yeah.
Pretty epic. Yeah, I think most people agree that Anna's the worst unit in the game. I don't know exactly why it is, besides like bad stats and authority, but I don't remember anything else besides her. I guess the sword suck, I guess is another thing.
She actually has an accent bow boon, but it's mostly just the fact that her bases suck. Like she's not a good mage because she also has a Reason Bane and not the great spell list. Besides Meteor, she has like nothing.
I was gonna say like this is not one of those characters they just give a Reason Bane, they just give him a really good spell.
One good spell.
Yeah, I mean,
not even many.
I mean one. Yeah, this is like bolting on Manuela. And Hilda.
Hey, at least Hilda doesn't have a Bane.
Oh right, she doesn't.
Optimal dancer.
Very optimal dancer.
Yes. And then also the fact that she doesn't support anyone. And that's actually made even worse once Cindered Shadows came out, because beforehand, you at least got the minimal boost for not having a support, right? The +3 hit avoid and +5 gambit hit. Now you get nothing. And
you lose, sir. Good day.
Not only do you get nothing, you still take up the linked attack slots.
Oh.
So she could be actively, for example, making someone worse by denying them linked attack bonuses.
So if you have like 5 people in range, there's only 4 slots. If they prioritize Anna somehow?
There are 3 slots and then your adjutant.
Okay, so 3 people in range plus your adjutant. By the way,
do you wanna know how it goes for that list? You would think, maybe it looks like for the highest support level. Nope, it's just deployment order.
It's when we bust out the Koei Tecmo emoji. Deployment order? Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've heard that name. Like, what is this? Like, this is like FE8 technology?
What is this GPA FE staffing?
I know, right? That's what I was thinking of too. It's like, okay, so you just want Anna like the low in deployment order.
Yeah, like last in deployment order, so she can't screw people over. But still, like, and then she can't even join for like chapter 2 or something.
All right, sucks. It's like unlock later. Okay, fun. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very bad unit. You do have Caspar and Hanneman in like an actual different tier than I do.
Yeah, though the difference isn't like as high as for me to like argue that. Really. Okay. It's just that like Caspar out of house isn't like total garbage. For example, like he can actually one round chapter 6 enemies with Bombard.
Oh, let's go. What does Bombard do again? It's like
it's one of those like brave combat arts for brawling. It's like +3 might, +10 crit. But that plus like E-rank battalion like I think Saros Mercenaries is enough for him to just kill like the not tanky enemies.
That's pretty cool. I like your breath tire. I'm gonna move these up here. I'm assuming Hanneman is up here for meteor stuff.
Well, meteor and like
Chip.
He can go pretty easily into magic bow sniper. His magic is
the
high.
L-Track method.
Yeah. No, the L-Trans method is giving him speed boosters to double everything in the game.
I have steal from Petra. And double Petra.
Alternatively, Astra.
We Hanneman bomb rounds everyone in Crimson Fire.
Forgive me, master. For once, I must go all out.
That is fair. Okay, what else is the biggest difference between lists? What is another unit that you think would be good to talk about? Because I think we got the biggest differences out of the way.
I think Dorothea might be worth talking about.
Okay.
Because I feel like she's underrated here, mostly because early game she's amazing through Rally Charm, which is +8 Charm, which equates roughly to 40% Gambit accuracy.
That's pretty good. It has a ceiling of 80, right?
Yeah. The ceiling is like 6. Yeah, the ceiling is 80 with a 50% base accuracy Gambit. It's like basically the base hit plus the difference of charm times 5, capped at 30%.
Okay, that's fair.
And then plus other effects. For example, if you give Ferdinand a battalion that has 50 base accuracy, with Rally Charm from Dorothea, and his base charm is actually just high enough for this.
All right.
In Chapter 2, he reaches 95% hit rate without linked attacks.
All right, time to move Ferdinand back up.
Yo? Nah, it's already factored in.
Damn it. Okay, that's cool. I usually just associate Dorothea with the meteor linked attack and dance utility, I guess.
She has Physic at sea.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
that's pretty good.
Foron and Sagittae are actually good offensive spells with that. Yeah, there is. It's not like a major part of like tiering her or anything, but if you master Grammary with her, you could give her Versus, and the meme there is that she's gonna chip herself down with Relic Recoil and activate Defiant Magic.
Because you could probably... I mean, it's still a Grammary, so it might be hard to attack every turn unless you're like using your meteor uses, which, I mean, I guess you have 2 of them, so you can like spam 1 with all still keeping a linked attack.
you have 2 of them, and then she has Foron for extra range.
It's... do you get like a bonus from Thyrsus or just set it to 5? It's just +2, right?
It's +2 range.
Oh, that's pretty good. So with Thorn, you have 5 range then.
Yeah, it's with Foron, it's 5 range.
Okay. Do you think you can get Black Magic range +1?
That's S. Probably if you focus. Not on Crimson Flower, but on other routes, sure, why not? And then there's also the Dancer Dilemma, the whole Dancer Dilemma with her.
Dancer means.
Yeah,
I said
Black
Dancer
Eagles,
utility earlier
really
because she's like a really good dancer. I don't mean that she gets credit for all the dancer utility in the game. I just think she's one of the better dancers in the game.
Yeah, because of that utility for linked attacks. It depends on your team composition, admittedly, but if you're using a team composition that supports her, and she does support a nice variety of people, all the Black Eagles, some of the like Sylvain, Felix, Ingrid, all of whom are good out of house. Lawrence.
Lawrence is very good. I do agree.
Yeah, Lawrence is very amazing. I swear, guys. But I just had to mention that. But yeah, I feel like she should go like, I don't know, somewhere around Marianne. Whether below or above is your call.
All right, I'm happy putting her here. That's fine. I don't mind that kind of utility. That seems pretty good. All right. The reason I put her kind of low is I remember her not being very good at like offensively at like actually killing things and not being very good to build it.
She's not as bad as people make her out to be, because the difference in growth is 10%, and then she has equal base because 11 is the highest magic base in the game besides Hubert.
Yeah, I just don't think magical units are that great to begin with at like, actually killing things.
Admittedly, magical offense isn't like the greatest of utilities, which is why I'm not gonna like bother arguing Hubert as much, because that depends on how you see magical offense as a thing.
I mean, with Hubert, it's also that he, I don't even know, like he has some spells that Hapi we praised her for as well.
Yes, but he does have, admittedly, he does have 2 major things over her. He has Mire and Dark Spikes. Dark Spikes is great at one-shotting the Death Knight, generic Cavaliers. What do you think? This is in 2019. And then Mire is just great because it's an 8 use. Like, for example, Foran is 4. Mire is 8. Use 1 to 3 range tome that lowers defense by 5.
Yeah, I remember that being really good against some bosses and monsters and stuff.
Banshee early game. Recover as a healing spell is actually great if you're closer to the action. And then Frozen Lance as a budding talent.
I was about to bring
amazing.
it up, yeah.
Like, same as Marianne. Except with him, he can also combine it, for example, with Heartseeker, which, I mean, Heartseeker doesn't sound that great until you run into, say, 83 Avoid Falcon Knights in CF Endgame, or like the 110 something Avoid Cyril.
Big epic.
Yeah,
I mean, he is Crimson Flower only, so that makes it really easy to like figure what kind of enemies he's gonna face. That's nice about Hubert for discussion purposes. I was trying to think, like, what do you give him as a weapon, like a Steel Lance Plus to use that?
Yeah, Steel Lance Plus, and then with Heartseeker he also gets helped by that. One advantage of Dark Bishop actually is that you can stack Fiendish Blow. On the other hand, you can put something else in there, and a build I was theorizing is, and actually tried out and to some nice success, is Guard Adjutant Life Taker, because in this game, how Life Taker works is that...
What kind of science is this?
Okay.
Wait,
Here-
someone else guard
okay.
adjutants him, right?
Hmm?
Someone else guard adjutants him, right?
Yeah, someone else guard adjutants him.
Okay.
So basically, how Life Taker works in Three Houses is that if you defeat an enemy, you take 50% of what they had at the start of combat.
Oh, wow.
So if you one-run the Fortress Knight, who has like 70 HP in Crimson Flower Endgame, for example, you get 35 HP back, and then you just set up a loop of him healing himself and taking hits with guard adjutants.
Yeah, because Hubert is not fast, but he can double Fortress Knight, right? He's not that
Yeah,
slow.
yeah, he can double Fortress Knights.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like
And
that.
he also has an authority boon, for example.
Yeah, that's cool. One thing I noticed with Hubert is like his charm isn't too great, but then like his whole kit seems to be geared around gambiting. So do you think that works? Like his gambit hit rate works? I mean, I guess you have rally charm for early game.
I mean, you have rally charm, and then you can just. He also has bow boon, which
What the fuck?
hit plus 20.
Ooh, that's pretty cash. I'm assuming you just don't really use him as an archer. You just kind of adjutant him while getting skills.
Yeah, just adjutant him while you get him up. You can equip a lance for that, by the way, so that he builds lance weapon experience.
Oh, that's pretty neat because you don't need bow experience once you've mastered
Yeah.
archer. And once you become archer.
Once you certify archer, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh man, that's so many cool things you can do with that. That's pretty cool. I was thinking there's like one more thing. Oh, do you think he can? Because like the thing with Hubert that kind of tempted me when I first played the game was trying to go for Dark Knight because he's a lance thing. Do you think he can make that? Because I feel like Crimson Flower is too short to make it.
He can make that. Recently, I've been like in the video. Even I talked about how I've been wondering whether it's worth it.
Yeah, because like the last two chapters are like fuck horses.
Actually, 17 isn't bad for him as a Dark Knight because he can dismount and he still has 6 movement. It's only endgame itself where he would prefer to go Dark Bishop, but there it's fine anyway because you want Heartseeker.
Okay, so it's just a matter of whether it's worth it then to like put effort into it.
It's a matter of whether you value like 15 to 17 utility plus all the paralogs except Turtle because thanks Koi Tecmo. But yeah, it's just a matter of whether you determine that's worth it and just like stick to, for example, Vestra Sorcery Engineers as his battalion, or invest more heavily into Authority for, say, Makuil Evil Repairing Corps, but then sacrifice going for Dark Knight and sticking to Dark Bishop.
Yeah, because Vestra Engineers is like C or something, so you can,
it's
like that's
C
so you can use it.
Yeah, it's C rank, and he actually has Lord. Hubert, for all intents and purposes, is a lord in the story of Three Houses because he has the same coding that guarantees he will have C rank by chapter 12.
Oh, he just goes up to C
battalion
for free without any like tutoring.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Do you make use of that or not? Because like, is it worth?
I think at 0%, I actually made use of it just to see.
I was thinking like you might want to like tutor his authority anyway, like during the main game.
No, like honestly, even if you don't tutor his authority past the D rank in the early game, he will still probably make it C just by using him because authority boon.
Yeah, just fighting. Yeah.
And then Empire Magic users also has Resonant Flames, which is the best one because it's 60 accuracy for a ridiculous AoE. It's super rare, but it's really amazing when you get it.
That's pretty cool. Okay, we have passed the hour mark. Is there any last grievance that you want to go over? Anything you think, or anything you think would be interesting to discuss in placement off? That's fine too.
Anything? I don't know whether it's interesting specifically, but I would say Balthus because Balthus is ridiculous in especially the early game because his personal is +6 strength, +6 defense at below 50% HP.
Isn't that hard to use though, especially in early game where people die so easily?
No, because for example, in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, you can protection stack him so much he takes 0.
And Poison Strike cannot kill him anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, and then, well, his strength is gonna be nice. His ranks are through the roof, especially if you put it in Chapter 3.
Oh yeah, Fighter for free bow
with
rank.
D-bows.
Oh yeah, that's so good. I remember that part.
And then he just slots perfectly into the Grappler, War Master, Fortress Knight class core. I consider that a class core because they can be easily certified together. The units tend to have the correct boons for them, and they are all useful to reclass between.
I mean, he's basically like a good version of Raphael, right?
The only, and he even has rally strength. The only reason like Raphael could. The only thing that Raphael has better than him is that he has Battalion Wrath. That's like it. But like, considering how good Balthus' ranks are, he can easily go for Warrior Wrath if you want.
Yeah,
he even has a sword boon.
Because I mean, is that useful?
Mercenary and Hero.
Oh yeah, you can go Vantage, I guess. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like Battalion Wrath is nice, but Balthus is already so good at like these kind of builds anyway that it doesn't really feel like an advantage. And I mean, and you can also do quick riposte if you want to keep at full HP. I always thought Balthus' personal skill was like really good. I didn't realize how many options there were with it. I'm fine moving up to the top of A tier. It kind of looks like I'm copying your tier list, but really what's happening here is I'm listening to your arguments and thinking like, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to argue against this. Like put him lower. So I'm just gonna kind of match it whenever I see fit.
Yeah. For example, we differ on Seteth and Jeritza, but that's mostly because I penalized them for availability. You go for their actual unit performance.
No, I mean, I try to penalize for availability too. I just haven't penalized them as much. I could go either way. I would fight over it. I think availability is boring to argue about.
Yeah, I would have like put them at top of high tier just for the unit performance, but like bottom is better for me because availability.
Yeah,
I will say Jeritza is better than Seteth, honestly, just because of that speed advantage, and Seteth doesn't start with Swift Strikes. Authority is not an issue because Jeritza just starts with B. He has Battalion Wrath and Battalion Desperation. Battalion Desperation sounds like a meme until you get a unit that's actually fast.
It's able to use it because then he just attack without counters. It's kind of like having Swift Strikes, honestly, on the Jeritza.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he gets Darting Blow as well for like even more speed.
Yeah, he gets Darting Blow. He has Mastermind. Wind Sweep after like 16 sword weapon experience, which is super easy.
You know, it's super easy to reach when you can actually reach it through battle alone.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's pretty epic. Yeah, Jeritza, I remember him being like really, really good for me. I like his, I like how he doesn't even need retribution to just counterattack stuff, even though it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, ironically, like I got that ability, and then for endgame, I just gave it away because I had 4 retribution uses.
Yeah, I'd rather just have the ability slot.
Yeah, it's better to just like use a prowess or something.
Definitely, because you can use so many different weapons anyway. And
yeah,
pretty good at them too.
Jeritza, the modern age Master Knight.
I know, right? Doesn't he have Lancefare?
He has Lancefare through Death Knight, sorry.
Yeah.
And then he can use magic, so that literally just Master Knight.
Literally Master Knight. Wait, can he heal people as Dark Knight? No, right? Or like as Death Knight? No,
Death
right?
Knight, he could, but he doesn't start with it.
Oh.
And his Faith rank besides heal is garbage. He has heal, Nas, and restore.
Oh, that's kind of ass. No recover for you, I guess.
Yeah, you only want heal if anything.
Imagine healing that late in the game.
And even then, like, you know, end game. So you might want to go like, I don't know, Wyvern, obviously, but if not, then Assassin, Grappler, maybe.
Hero. Just fantasy.
Hero doesn't have unpenalized movement.
Oh, that's true.
The fire tiles.
You mean like for endgame? Yeah.
For endgame.
No, I was just thinking in general. I had the LTC on the mind.
Yeah, no. Hero works for him really well, and he can certify at base too. So.
Yeah, pretty cool. My favorite part is the authority Bane, and then just be a Bane.
B rank, take it or leave it.
I will go no higher. Imagine healing being like the actual thing you're supposed to be good at. Imagine that being something that you're supposed to sell you on being good.
F.
Well, it's C, but yeah, there we go. Okay, alright. I like this. That was pretty cool. Okay, that was good. That was informative. I don't think there's enough left to do a part 2 on 3 houses, but you're open for like more games, right?
Yeah, I'm open for more games. Honestly, mostly any game, really.
Right.
Though obviously you can find some better experts on some games.
Yeah, no worries. I have some other people in mind. I actually asked mostly for the viewers' sake. I've asked Zoran, and he's open to discussing fates, so that might be fun. Do some conquest or birthright or something. So that'll be interesting. Yo. And then I 3 houses was like, I forgot to mention this like at the start, but 3 houses was like 3rd on the poll that I held on my Patreon, where people voted on what game to revision next. I still have some FE10 on the mind because Don and I tiered like 4 units that were like moved like 3 places over, and that's it. So we still have like a lot of things to do there, and like FE10 won by like a very large margin too. So we'll probably do another FE10 at some point. I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit. Maybe Donna will come back for some other games as well. And I'm still open to suggestions for other games, especially Awakening, which is a game I don't really have a lot of experience with, and a lot of people just don't know anything about it. So I'll look for some of those as well. And but yeah, look forward to more. And thanks for coming on, Rengor. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. See y'all next time. You should subscribe to Mekkah and unsubscribe from me. I want that 776 special again.
Not again. Obi-Wan is gonna kill me.